Hello. 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 Welcome to my photography academy for kids. I say it's for kids, but it's for anyone really. Adults, teenagers, anyone can get involved. The whole reason why I'm doing it is because homeschooling is a bit of a drag at times. So I kind of want to inject something new into your homeschool life. So I thought, teach you photography. Photography's cool. So I'm Rachel, I'm 34. My favourite thing in the world is revels. Oh no, wait, I can't say that because it's Healthy January. And my favourite thing in the world is salad leaves with revels on top. And my job, my professional job, I'm a photographer. It's the best job in the world. I photograph families, I photograph animals, I photograph people's weddings. They're the best jobs. It's absolutely awesome. There's a few things you need to be a photographer, which I'll run through today, but I'm going to talk to you about what photography is, how a camera works, and we're just going to be using a camera phone. I'm using an iPhone, but it doesn't really matter what you're using. You can use an iPad if you've got an iPad, whatever. Okay, how does photography work? I want you to think of photography as a bit like painting a picture, but instead of using paint, you're using light. A lovely photographer friend told me that once. She's called Jen. We love Jen. Painting with light is a genius way of looking at photography. It probably won't make a lot of sense now, but as the classes go on, I'll explain more and more. And by the end of it, someone will say to you, what is photography? And you'll be like, it's painting with light. Okay, so looking at my camera, this bit at the back is called the body, and this bit on the front is called the lens. I'm going to take the lens off and show you what the lens looks like. Okay, so this is the lens. The lens is really sensitive and delicate and very fragile. So on the end here, I've got what's called a lens cap. My lens cap is made of rubber, and it's basically designed to stop the lens from getting dirty or getting scratched. So can you see there? The lens is made of glass. They're really precious. You have to look after them. So then we've got the body of the camera. This is basically a bit like a brain or a computer. The computer decides the settings, decides how the lens is going to behave. It shows you the picture at the back. If I pull that out, look, you can see there on a little screen. It lets you take the picture and it lets you change all of the settings to basically control how your photograph is going to come out. On the top here as well, that bit there, if I remove this, that is where I attach my flash. Now, the reason why I would attach a flash to this is because photography is painting with light. And if I'm taking a photo in an area that's too dark, I need to add light to be able to see more of it. We're going to be using a camera phone for our lessons, and camera phone photography is actually really popular amongst photographers. Some people knock camera phones. They think, if you haven't got a big jazzy camera, you're not a photographer. Thing is, photographers often use their camera phones to basically take amazing photos and prove how incredible camera phones are now. If you want proof with an adult, if you look at the hashtag on Instagram, which is hashtag shot on iPhone, you'll see some of the most incredible photographs that were taken on an iPhone. Now, let's be honest, the hashtag shot on iPhone was probably thought up by the marketing department of the iPhone, but you know what? It works. So if you look at hashtag shot on iPhone on Instagram with a grown-up, you'll see incredible close-up photos, faraway landscapes, portraits, everything. And it's basically amateur and professional photographers' way of showing that camera phones are capable of incredible things. So everything you see here is compacted into this, your camera phone or iPad. This is what's amazing about camera phones, is that in here, you've got the computer. At the back here, you've got your lens. And whereas when I take photographs on this, I have to set all the settings myself. This does it all for you automatically. It's amazing. Okay, so you're here for photography tips. Let's get straight into the good stuff. Here are my 5 first basic tips about phone photography. Step 1, clean your lens. This is so important. All my friends and family laugh at me whenever I take a photo on someone's phone. I'll get everyone together, but I'll be there in the background cleaning the lens on my dress or on my clothes. It's so important though. Before I shoot a wedding, I have a little ritual which I do in the morning, apart from coffee. It includes cleaning my lens. So I've got special lens cleaners for this, but that's because anything that's on this lens, dust, marks, scratches, anything, that's going to show up on your photo. And it's exactly the same with this. Have you ever seen one of those photos where it comes out really smeary? They didn't clean their lens. Okay, so it's really easy. Using a soft cloth, usually a soft jumper, a t-shirt, give it a little clean, have a look, and if you turn it over and look at it in the light, you can see on the glass whether there's anything on your lens. And if it's really clean, we're good to go. Step 2, hold your phone properly. Okay, I know this sounds really basic, but it is so important. When I photograph using this camera, I don't hold it like this. The reason being is because the heaviest part of the camera is the lens. That is almost solid glass, so it weighs a ton. So what you do is you hold the camera with this hand here, because that is what you press to take the photo, and then your left hand goes underneath the lens, because then you're going to be really steady when taking the photo. As you're looking through the camera, you can hold it really steady. There's going to be no movement, and your picture's going to be crisp and clear. It's exactly the same with camera photography. You need to hold your phone properly. How many times have you had it where you've asked someone to take a photo of you? Simple task. They take the photo, and then when you get the photo back, there's a finger over the lens. It happens. So for that reason, you need to hold your camera phone like this, okay? The screen's here. But if you hold it like this, what you can do is not only have you got a good grip of your phone, so you can keep it still, but underneath here are the volume buttons. This volume button can act as a trigger to take your photo rather than having to touch your finger on the screen. This means you're going to have way more control using this button here. You can hold everything more still. Your photo's going to be better. Plus, no fingers over the lens. Step 3, composition.
And the Oscar goes to Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, not competition, composition. It's a bit of a tricky word, but I'm going to go into it. Okay, so composition is so important in photography. It comes from the word compose, which basically means put together. Composition means how your photograph is put together. If you think of a composer of an orchestra with the stick, it's their job to compose the orchestra, all the instruments, and make sure everything comes together perfectly. That's exactly what composition is. Your composition is basically what's in the photograph and how you photograph it, how you compose your picture. You could either do it landscape, which means the phone is on its side, or you can do it portrait, which means the phone is upright. A good way to remember the difference is landscape. If you think about looking out over hills or a landscape, everything stretches in front of you. It's long and thin. It's a long, thin view. Whoa, my arms look huge. But a portrait is like a portrait of a person. If you draw someone's portrait, you're going to draw this part of them here. So that is long and thin. We're going to go a little bit more into composition in a bit, but let's move on to step 4. Okay, step 4. This is the most important part of photography. Light. The reason why your light is the most important part of photography is because photography is painting with light. When you're taking your photo, you need to make sure that the lighting's right. Lighting doesn't just mean loads of light on whatever you're photographing. Sometimes you can have too much light. If you have too much light, everything's way too bright and the photo will come out almost white and it'll just be a big blur. Basically, you have to make sure everything's well lit properly. You don't want people to be in direct sunlight because it makes people squint. So if you take someone's photo and you're like, here you go, smile, and you move them into direct sunlight where the sun is in their face, rather than be like this, they're going to be like this. No one wants that. Step 5, taking the photo. So there are some really important points to tell you here, especially where camera phone photography is concerned. Again, this is something I get laughed at about a lot from my friends and family, but it's because I have a phrase and I always use it, and that phrase is tap the screen. Sorry, what was that? Tap the screen. Okay, I'll explain. Basically, remember I said to you that this is like a computer? This computer focuses on whatever you're photographing to make it really clear and crisp. If you don't focus the computer properly, your photo is going to come out blurry. No one wants that. So once you've done step 1, clean the lens. Step 2, you're holding the phone properly. Step 3, you've sorted out your composition, you're ready, you're doing it in landscape. Step 4, you're happy with your lighting, we're good to go. Step 5 is crucial. Okay, testing. Welcome to RachCam. To demonstrate this properly, I've gone into the camera. Okay, here we go. So I want to take a photograph of my camera on this box of postcards. It's not particularly exciting, but I'm doing it anyway. We're at step 5. We're ready to take the photo, but everything's a little bit blurry. That's because the phone's taken it upon itself to decide where it wants to focus. And at the moment it's focused on here, Exhibit A. So to focus it on the camera, we need to tap the screen where we want the focus. Let's give it a little tap. There it goes. Now the camera is in focus and the candle is out of focus. Let's just do a little Rach replay to go over that again. So as you can see, the candle is currently in focus, but we want to focus in on this side of the camera. So tap the screen. Hey, did you see that little movement? That was the computer saying, okay, I'm going to refocus. And now our camera is in focus and the background is blurry. I'm going to put my serious glasses on for this next bit. So just to reiterate, I cannot express the importance of tapping the screen. Okay, it's that easy. My final little addition to step 5, which is taking the photo, is always overshoot. This is a golden rule of photography. Photographers do tend to overshoot, which means you take way more photos than you need so that you can pick out the ones where everyone's got their eyes open and no one's blinking. So get everyone together, tap the screen, take 3 or 4 photos, and then before you give the phone back to whoever you're taking the picture for, choose the best one, delete the others, and they'll look at it and say, wow, you're really good at photography. And you'll say, yeah, I did a course once. Okay, so now that you've learned the first 5 basic steps of camera phone photography, you're basically on the way to becoming a professional photographer. To be honest, it's not going to be long before you're all charging for wedding photographs and you all become little mini Alan Sugars. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about the word composition.
This is the first Oscar and 6th nomination for Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, still not competition, composition. We know what composition means. It means how you compose your photograph, how you put it together, what's in it. I'm going to tell you a few little tips and tricks. So imagine this is our photo. There's different ways that we can compose this photo. If we're thinking about this as being our frame, the obvious thing to do would be to put the object right in the middle of the photo. But there's a little rule that you can do, and the photographers call it the rule of thirds. Rubbed the word off to make it a bit clearer. It's a bit smudgy now, sorry. Okay, so if we separate something into thirds, how many sections are there? 3 sections. So we've got this side, the middle, and the other side. When you're taking a photo, this rule of thirds means that the object is either in one of these sections. It's kind of like an artsy rule. Some people think it's not fashionable anymore, but who cares? Yeah, testing again. To demonstrate this, I've gone back to RachCam. So here is our object that we're taking a photo of. The most obvious thing is to take a photo where it's in the middle. However, the rule of thirds rule means we could either take it to this side so that the object is on the right, or we could take it to this side so that the object is on the left. The idea of the rule of thirds is that some people think it just looks a bit posh. The rule of thirds can also work from top to bottom as well. So if I was to take a photo of this wall, I could take it like this. See? It's in the bottom third. Okay, so a really another important part of composition is angle. What angle are you going to take your photo from? Okay, testing for a third time. We've gone back into RachCam. Are you there? Can you see me? Okay, great. So angle, really important. When people take photos of things, often they'll just point and press. That's fine. However, in order to take a really good photo, we want to think carefully about the angle and about the level that we're taking it from. The more thought out the photo looks, the better it will look. Okay, so I'll demonstrate. Let's say you give your camera phone to someone and you say, take a photo, and the person stands up and takes this photo. Okay, what can we see in this photo? We can see, haven't pushed my drawers in, all the photo prints on the floor that need framing for the walls, my notice board that needs getting rid of, and the corner of that box that definitely needs throwing in the recycling. To be honest, it's all a little bit distracting and confusing. You're taking a photo of the camera, but everyone's way too distracted with what's going on in the background. So let's try it again, but let's think about the angle. When you're taking a photo of anything, it's really important to think about the angle. Rather than just pointing and pressing, get down to eye level, see how that looks. Maybe even go right in as close as you can, tap to focus, and do what we call macro photography, which means really close up. Another cool way of offering up a different angle is to take something from above. So angles can create different illusions. If you photograph something from underneath and look up, it makes everything look taller and bigger. If you photograph something looking down on it, it makes something look smaller. So that pretty much covers everything for session 1. We've gone over how to prep your camera phone to take a good photo, clean the lens. We've gone over the fact that photography is painting with light. Say it again, painting with light. We've gone over what composition means. No, composition, not competition, and how to think out your composition really carefully so that you get a really lovely photo. And we've gone over the golden rule of phone photography. Tap the screen. So, budding photographers, here's your challenge. I want the photographs to be of the same thing in every photograph. It could be an object, like a plant or a candle, or it could be a person, maybe someone at home that you live with. What I want you to do is I want you to apply all the rules I've taught you so far. So I want you to take your camera phone or your iPad, clean the lens, get it ready, hold it properly, hold it still. Make sure your light is perfect and everything's lit really well. Get your subject in the right position and then tap the screen and take the photo. But I want you to take 4 photos. Maybe you'll use one of the composition rules I've taught you, maybe the rule of thirds. Maybe you'll use a different angle. Maybe you'll shoot it from above. So once you've taken your 4 photos, I want you to ask an adult to put them in one big photo. Then tomorrow, I'm going to be asking you to share your results and I cannot wait to see them. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this first session with me. I've loved it. Don't forget, if you found this useful and enjoyable, share it with anyone you know, friends, family, whoever. Until next time, bye.